And it looks like that was drilled by Native people. They used cane and drill into that. I don't know why they were doing that, but you kind of see the rings. The drill is not a metal drill or a mine drill. This is the corner notch point. It goes right there. You get two different kinds of notches. You get side and corner, lots of corner notches, so that would fall in the Kirk. But you already knew that, didn't you?
Well, I knew it was pretty old.
Yeah, so they're in calendar years, they're between 10 and 11,000 years old.
And this is something I couldn't find anywhere.
Oh, that's a Guildford. So this is a middle archaic coin. They sometimes have these flat, slightly concave bases, and other times they have points at both ends. But the kind of key for it is this thick lozenge-shaped cross-section. You notice how the difference in this. These are thin, these are made to last. This is like a Stanley tool, and this is a 59-cent blue light special from Cameron. They are not built to last. They're expedient. They've been making them and they get rid of them.
It's fun, a lot of these.
Yeah, this is a side. This is a corner notch point that's been resharpened. So they make these again to last. They make them to be resharpened, and the point tip breaks off and make a new one. This is completely worn out. You don't even see the grooves, the notches anymore. So it's probably to the point where they intentionally just disposed of it. Yeah.
And this one was shaped different.
Yeah, this is. We're doing a piece of wood glasses. We have to use these. This is a small arrow point, so this is going to go up here with the bow and arrow points. So everything from here down is a spear. Everything from here up is arrow. So the bow and arrow gets introduced fairly recently.
And I'm not sure that
I know what this is. This is what we call a gorget. And what these look like is two holes drilled in, and sometimes they're notched along the edge, and we're not sure what these are for. People felt like they were worn as a necklace. Familiar with the Revolutionary War soldiers wear those silver. I feel like there's one sitting around here somewhere. But they wear these metal gorgets, and so it gets that same name, gorgeous, is thrown in the French language. People think maybe these are wrist guards for archers. A bulwark, the Australian Aborigines use them in wood. You go, whoop, whoop, whoop. And so if you're over there and I'm signaling to you where my location, some people have said maybe it's a turkey call. You rub a stick against these little notches to produce a turkey call.
And the other one's, I'm looking and said, this is whole, and they called it like some type of Edgefield knife or something.
Edgefield scraper, I don't think so.
Almost two.
Yeah, the Edgefield scraper, do we have them on here? We don't. The Edgefield scraper is a half-dip tool. It's got a base like this, and then it's got one angle, and then comes down sharp like that. And they're unifaces, and this is a biface. So I think this falls somewhere in the Morro Mountain face. And then I see these all the time, but I have no idea. It's a ball clay.
I don't know.
I wish I knew what those are.
This one was, I had a little trouble trying to get it.
I'm gonna put that in the, up here in the, we call them stemmed woodland. It's interesting, when the bow and arrow comes in, they make these small, thin arrow points in almost every type of spear point form. They're almost all of them are duplicate. So I think that's where that falls.
Of course. I found that's, I think it's a musket ball.
Yeah. Out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah. And then these, I think, are about maybe Guilford.
Yeah, I'll put these in the Guilford Morrill Mountain. That's probably a small Savannah River. So you end up with pretty much the entire archaic sequence, and then a couple arrow points. We call it, that's a Guilford axe, kind of beat up. So that falls in that range, and that's the way they make axes out here. They're also expedient. This is we call this a nutting stone for breaking open walnuts, nuts. It could also be used for grinding pigments and different things like that. Sometimes they have some of those stones.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Would you like to take a picture of all of these sitting on the chart?
That was the last one, right here. I don't know.
I don't think that's just a natural piece of something, but this would not chip well. It would not break enough to produce a sharp edge. That kind of stone is more grainy.
Okay.
You want to take a picture with your phone of any of these things laying out, you're welcome to.
So, then we figure out what this
Yeah,
is.
Lon might be able to help you with those. That's, again, that's kind of out of my wheelhouse. Excuse me. I guess those get shot with one of these.
Yeah.
Get close to the front. Come on this side if it's easier.
Okay, hot.
Huh?
Hot.
No, I'm good. Okay. No, I feel comfy, thank you.
I think these are all.
What was saying? Yeah. This one's a little different with this kind of, it's gonna be down here in the okay, somewhere.
That's good. And then
This one's kind of an oddball. This is not the best material in the world, but it's in the good for range. Where are these from, local?
Yeah, most of them are local, Lake Immersion area. Some of them are in the Waxhaw area, just close to South Carolina line,
Okay, yeah,
in that area. This was near Savannah
yeah. Okay,
River.
okay, so think. Stay down.
That's it.
Okay.
I never knew what the name of that one was.
I'm gonna put it somewhere. It's kind of like it's gonna fall in the ear of the Yadkin. So this is it right here.
Okay.
And there's a good bit of variation in those, but that's what that is.
We never knew what they did. This,
There's no telling.
well, it makes a good paperweight.
Was that found locally?
Yes.
Because the nearest sources are in Spartanburg and Cherokee County, but it got traded around.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day.
I was gonna tell you, Mike, you know Mike Evers Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Okay, what's he up to, that
I
guy?
don't know, he said he was gonna come here this morning, and he told me about it,
Okay.
because we go out and look together.
Yeah, we were at DNR together for many years.
He's something, he went to Citadel with my older brother for a couple of
Okay.
years.
All right, well, tell him hello if I don't see him. Yeah,
He said he'd be here.
Okay.
Appreciate it, thank
that
you.
sounds good. Jeff, come on in the house, guys.
Oh, share if you want.
Okay.
And just go ahead and dump out what you got. And see
It's not much.
if I can identify.
It's not much, it's a big bag and small content. My wife was given 4 pop charters
Okay.
that were all collected on the Wateree River by a friend of hers. And she thinks she may have identified them from this chart, but she wants to be sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure why she taped them,
Protect them.
I guess. Is there enough there to identify?
These look like they were in the river for a long time, or a creek.
Yep. We're thinking there's 4 different styles there.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
My wife's.
Okay.
She's away for the day.
Okay, so these are Mississippian period.
Both of those are all.
Actually, all
Okay, all Mississippi.
all Mississippian. So they're early in the sequence, about 1250 to 1400. These are associated with these mounds that are around Camden.
All I know is they were collected near the river.
Okay, so there's
And he did excavate a mound, I know that.
yeah. Oh, he excavated a mound. Do you know where?
It would have been south of the bridge.
The number 1 bridge, or the 601 bridge, or the 20 bridge?
20 bridge.
Okay, yeah, I know where these are from. So this is a simple stamp. This is a complicated stamp. This is carved into a piece of wood, and while the clay is still a little harder than leather hard, they stamp it to get the coils. It's a coiled pot to meld together. Then they put these geometric designs on. This one's just straight lines. We call it simple stamp. These are really kind of neat geometric designs. This one kind of looks like a swastika. And then this is the same thing as that. It's a little later because they overstamped it. So they hit it once, and instead of like carefully applying it all across the pot, they hit it again at a different angle. And you can see where the lines are interrupted by the second stamp. But they're from the Mississippian period. I put them at 1250 AD to 1400.
Very good. All right. And now, I found this 30 years ago on Edisto Beach.
Yep. This is European flint.
European
It's
flint.
either from France or Spain, the White Cliffs of Dover. There's chalk. At the very bottom of that is this.
And
And this probably came as ballast in the ship
really,
and then was thrown out. Somebody picked it up. You don't have a lot of rocks in the low country, so somebody might say, oh, I need that. But this is pure flint. We don't see this in the United States at all.
so that would have been ballast, not a trade item.
No, too far away to trade. But we see that a lot along the coast in the colonial period,
Huh.
where they're putting ballast in ships, it's that stuff, and then they load up and they don't need it, and they toss it off. And Sometimes they get picked up and moved around.
Okay,
That's what that is.
very good. Thank you much for
Pleasure,
your time.
nice to meet you, yeah.
We'll take care of this.
You take your time, we'll put them all back together.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
I thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming by.
You too.
Chris Judge, Mike Harness, A for White.
Nice to
I
meet you.
met y'all before? We had Joe Bird.
Yes, okay, I was just
Yeah.
talking to.
We had the pipeline.
Oh, yeah. What you got?
That is the only piece of incised pottery that we found on that site. We don't know if it's just scratching on it or.
No, I think that's intentional incisions. Let Long give me a second opinion on it. What you got there?
Oh, yeah, that's intentional.
So I have 150 pounds roughly of sherds. That's the only, which constitutes thousands and thousands of them.
Uh-huh.
That's the only two that,
That's
Yeah.
nice.
it's a surface find and it was separated.
It's intentional.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess this is Tom's Creek, which is
Okay.
4,000
Yeah.
years old, early.
Yeah, we had fiber timber coming off of there as well.
So this,
Yeah, we were trying to find to make sure we had some
When you-
Stallings Island.
when you handed it to me, I was thinking, I couldn't see it very well. I was thinking it's Stallings, but the more I look at it, that's a piece of Tom's Creek.
Okay, that's neat.
They make these kind of lines that they're kind of two parallel and they cross each other as kind of a common motif.
Like I said, that's the only piece off the site even remotely
With
close
all
to
those
that.
other pieces, that's, yeah.
Now, this one, believe it or not,
That's neat.
is, where are we? Is one of these that's just completely worn out. And so they make these to last and they resharpen them, resharpen them, resharpen them, but that's what that is. Just really beat up. And this one is what we call a Santee lancelet.
That's the last.
Yeah, it's this. You can see it's got a little bit of a concavity to it, and this is sort of the idealized, like, best version. But just based on its thickness, I would put that in the Santee lancelet. Can I take it out?
Sure.
Just to make sure.
Put pins on it.
So just the two of them. Just want to make sure. It's,
The only problem with the one on the top being really archaic is it was found on the strata below where we find our hardware blades.
oh, really? This was?
Yeah.
Tell if that's ground or not. I think a piece broke off right there, but
That was a surface find as well.
this was surface as well.
So,
Yeah, I was thinking this might be a little earlier, but I don't think it is. I'm gonna stick with this Santee lancelet.
we thank you for your time.
Absolutely, good to see y'all again.
Good to see you.
That pipe was really cool, for the blank.
Yeah, we just got off, stepped off the other boat and literally, there it was.
It's right there.
That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Pleasure, nice to see y'all. Take
Good
care.
to see you.
Gosh. So don't talk about it.
Don't say what you're gonna do.
You told me. How you doing?
Chris goes,
Bill Nellis.
hey, Bill, come on in.
I got these.
You only like this certain kind, huh?
Well, let me explain it to you. Those belong to my mother's cousin who collected, he had a much larger collection than that. And he died back in the 60s. And I knew he had a large collection. And whatever happened to him, I did not know. And a lady at my church was cleaning out a cabinet and found those. And there was a note with them telling who it belonged to.
Oh, okay.
And she knew that she found out that I was related to him and she gave it to me.
You know what they are?
I do not.
Steak knives.
Steak knife. Look at them. Okay.
These are for cutting meat. They're serrated just like your modern day metal steak knife.
Okay.
They're early archaic. They fall in the. These are. Let's see, make sure I'm right here. You've got side notch Hardaway style, where the notch is coming in from the side. This one is a corner notch. So this is going to fall in this. The end corner notch has an side notch. So there's two styles. One comes in from the corner, one comes in from the side. So they are in the 10 to 11,000 year old range.
Really?
Yep.
That old?
Yep. We call their spear points. They would half them onto a foreshaft about yay big, and then socket that into a spear. When you're ready to butcher, it comes off, and you got enough. And then you can also carry a few spears and a lot of foreshafted, hafted points, and if one breaks, you just socket another one in, and off you go.
10 to 11,000 years old.
Yep.
That's amazing.
All in calendar years. You know where they're from?
I do not.
Okay.
I know he collected around here,
Mm-hmm.
but exactly where I do not know.
Yeah. Well, very nice collection in there. Some of these
I heard there was,
are incredibly serrated.
Johnny found out, I don't know who you talked to.
Yeah, I think it was Jim Vernon that told me the collection, whole collection was taken to Santee when they had a museum down there.
Oh, Bob Lafay and his father. Bob Lafay and his father had a museum at Santee. Yeah,
And
back in
the
the
place burned down.
yes.
So all the collection was in that group.
Yeah.
This is another thing, that fortunately it wasn't in,
Oh, okay. That's the
it
only
was
thing
at the
that's
church, they were on loan.
Yeah.
to the church.
Some of these serrated. It's interesting how they're worn off one side.
Could that be through erosion or age or?
No, it's through use.
Okay.
So if you had a handle that curved a little bit, you might favor one side.
Yeah,
But it's, 1, 2, 3, at least half of them seem to have the one side worn off. Almost looks like they're made by the same person to me as well. And I guess presumably they may have been all found in one place,
yeah. I'll never know.
but that's what you got.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Neat
it.
stuff.
It's amazing that that old.
Yeah.
With 800-900 years, I don't believe they have 10,000 to 11,000.
Yeah, no, those are
That's incredible.
just post ice age. That's what we see right after the ice age comes to an end and the mastodon and mammoths all become extinct. They're hunting small. That's the first points we see.
Well, when did the Indians first come?
There's a site in Allendale that's got some dates from 16 to 19,000 years ago called Topper. It's a quarry for sugar in Florida. So that site produces the open states.
Thank you so much.
Take it.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
nice day.
Thanks, John.
Yes, sir.
on in.
I'll be here with them all day, so I'm an interim person bringing stuff.
Set them right here.
Let me put this down first. That's separate. This, is not the basket, it is this right here.
Yeah, that's a beautiful little wall.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
It was found, with plow in the 1920s to 30s.
The plow hit that?
Okay, and it was given to my father when he came home after World War II.
Okay.
And so it's been in our family since that time.
Yeah.
And in that time, I thought I'd tell you what I have seen since then. Until recently, I had never noticed the flakes of mica, of
Yeah, the
shiny
flex
things.
might be, yeah.
Yes, that is coming out in this. And I know I would have seen that before, had it happened. And in the bright light, it just really,
Yeah, exactly. When
it's.
the light reflects it in kind of a dull light, you might not
Yes.
see that.
You
but,
don't, you don't.
That's naturally in the clay.
Right,
Yeah.
naturally in clay. Now, where this was plowed up is a site that the family said, they always believed it was an Indian mound. The property had been in the family since the middle 1800s, around 1850. And it was an area of a fishery on the waterway,
Okay. Do you know where?
approximately where the dam is now.
Oh, okay.
They always called it
Okay.
Eagle's Nest.
Yep.
Not up at the top of Eagle's Nest.
Yeah, this style is called, we call it Belmont Neck,
Belmont Neck, okay,
which
yeah,
is the mound down below Moore.
right.
And so these notches, and then there is some evidence up in that area of these notched rim. Can I take a
Right.
picture of that?
Yes, you certainly may.
I think what I'll do is put it on here.
It was on display for a while at the University of South Carolina when Harvey Teal did his book on pottery.
Uh-huh.
And they had it as an example of the kind of pottery that predated the
The stuff that he was interested in,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Let's see.
I'm glad this is recording because I left my notebook on the table. But I remember Belmont Neck and that was in as well.
And will you hold that up like
I
that for me?
sure will.
And then I'm gonna shoot from this angle.
All right, okay. They plowed corn, they planted corn at the side of the fishery. They had a cornfield there and he was plowing corn when he turned this up.
Oh, is that right?
And they turned up quite a number of different kinds of pieces over the year in the same place. And the people of that early time did call the site around there an Indian mound site. But to me, a lot of the things they reported sounded more like it would be a village site,
Yeah, it seems like,
habitation. Would you
seems
think
like
that?
in George Stewart's dissertation, he
Yes.
talks about Eagle's Nest as having some
Yes.
archaic stuff, some earlier stuff, but this is a beautiful little bowl.
My uncle and my father, a different uncle on a different side of the family, and my father with George Stewart when he was a young man. He
Okay.
was an archaeologist and this and that.
When he was a looter before he saw the light.
Well, before anybody else cared, let's put it that way.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Exactly, and fortunately, he cared enough George Stewart cared enough to go ahead and sit around and study it.
Well, yeah, he did save a lot of that information from
Yes,
Jimmy Reese
Yes.
and Norman Foe and all that crowd. Ooh, look at that.
yes, and from that early crowd of people who did the same kinds of things, this you see has been mended. It was like an almost whole pot that came apart, and my father did give that
And you think
from
this,
his own to my
so
son.
these all, it's all the same pod?
This is the same pottery group that he had
I got
was in, okay? Because it was likely additional pottery. He had this at one time. There are two boards here at the archives, and they're going to try to get them that have things my father had mounted on.
I got you.
And I'm going to, when they can retrieve those, I'll speak to you about those, or you
Yeah.
can come back and see them.
So you're familiar with the Philpott cross, right?
Yes.
Design, yeah. So that's a really nice one.
And just the weight of it. And I know that this one was found sometime in the
In
1940s.
the 40s, yeah, when a lot of stuff was found.
Right, a lot of stuff was found, exactly right. And washing in the river and all along, you know, and even down on the sandbars where
Oh, yeah.
things
Oh, yeah.
had washed down. So the fishermen, people who fished around there were big.
Finding all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so, did you have a date for this particular?
Yeah, this is early, so this would be, you know, 1150 to about 1300.
1150 to about 1300.
80.
Yes,
80.
yes, and that's what USC had said about 1100, from 1100.
Mhm,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now, they ate anything out of here or used it or what would?
I mean, this would be a perfect drinking bowl,
Yeah, yeah.
food serving bowl, keeping things in, but we would probably call that food serving bowl, but
Food
for
serving, yes.
liquid or for food.
That was always my imagination, just because it seemed to be what.
It's good in your
It's
hand,
logical.
right? Yeah.
Right, I'll see you off and on today.
All right,
Thank you
good to see
very
you.
much.
Yeah,
Good
take
to
care, all
see
the
you.
best. Say hey to Glenn for me.
I will, he just had cataract surgery, so he's not able to be out yet.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, my God.
You know, you came up and did the little dig on that cache that I uncovered.
Yeah. We don't have an exact, it's gonna fall in this range right here. It's something like the Lafayette. But this, everything from here up is arrow point, and everything from here down is spear point. So that's an early arrow point. We call them stemmed woodlands. They're from the woodland period.
Okay. So we're talking about 2,500 years old.
Exactly, yeah, right in there, yeah.
I found that up at Liberty Hill probably when I was doing the work up there, probably half a mile on the east side of the lake.
looks like that was made today. You know what I mean? I mean, the little tiny tip is perfect. And
Right.
I think the last time I saw you was when they were putting this line in there. And I thought about that recently because I went to Charles Bexley's funeral. And we went across the street and I was like, oh, yeah. It was a funny story because Bexley, we're all standing there, a bunch of archaeologists going to volunteer. What are we going to do? And the construction crew were gone. And Charles came up and he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, we thought we were going to follow the construction guys, bulldozing what they need to do. And he said, well, there's a bulldozer right there. And I said, well, I don't have the key. He goes, I got the key. How about that? I don't know how to drive it. And then some guy walked from behind the thing, and Chad Long and a couple of other archaeologists, they pushed that line. And he was kind of he saved the day that day.
That was great. That was good timing right there. Wasn't it?
And I remember he came up too.
I talked to Chris Young. He told me y'all were down there.
Yeah. He's moved to
Alaska.
He's going up to Alaska. He's in the south. He's in Arizona or Colorado.
Really?
Yeah. He was back for a while, and he's headed to Alaska in about a month.
Is he behaving himself?
No.
I didn't think so.
In fact, I think he got fired from his job. He's a bit rough around the edge, but I love him anyway. You ever seen the Mayan eccentrics? The Mayans make things that look like this, and they're like this one would be a very plain one. But they have all kinds of crazy things. They have really good material like this, but that.
I don't think I would give it away.
Right. If it were a generic broken point, maybe.
I would say that's a modern piece. That's my professional opinion.
We agree. Those three are interesting because we found them in our house.
You found it in your house?
On the bookshelf about 3 years ago. We have no idea what they came
You got aliens or something there? Well, these are both very early points.
from. Oh, wasn't expecting that.
These are both side notch points, and they're worn out. They would have been much bigger and then resharpened. But these are Hardways or Kirks, or one of these two. And they're just in this one. I'll put that one with that one.
Think it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I think it's vague.
I think that one, yeah, that looks too new.
See,
But these are real, these two are real.
we think,
I wasn't expecting that one.
probably came from my grandfather's farm.
Okay.
Back when we were kids, you know, if we go up there and they plowed and it had rained,
Let's go
but
look at it.
look, you know, we find, but it was no big deal, we found it every time. So, and I think they finally turned up at home, so they got laid on.
Okay, yeah. The archaeology of the house. Digging around.
Is there anybody else? Yeah. I don't know if it's an artifact, it's different. Yeah. And you don't know what this is, do you? It's got those little bubble points on it.
These right here, I don't know what that is. Stop me. Morning, Brent, how are you? You got some stuff to sell me?
No, I wish I did. No, I did name tags and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
yeah, we're having lunch. I was just looking on the video.
Okay.
Images are great.
Good. So you don't have any prizes in your little sack again?
I thought for sure you had something in the bag.
I would
Maybe
love
it's holding
to
it down.
have something, but I guess my yard was not inhabited.
Can we take you downstairs and look at the point thing while we're waiting?
Yeah.
For my son, in case there's anything further, Jim. lay them out.
Little goodies here that I think are interesting, and you can tell me more about them.
Okay.
Some ginger that keep playing with them. I kind of separated them a little bit. Start with the big pieces first. If I drop and break it. Take it out of there. Take these out too. Put them all so I keep them from banging against each other.
It's a preform for an axe.
Axe, preform for
Yeah,
it.
they've started to
Started working on it?
They've started to shape it. They didn't finish it. But that's what that is. We were just talking about these.
This little piece. These are little
I like your idea. Look.
stones. Yeah, I've got a bigger one. This one's got edges on both sides.
We were just talking about this downstairs. These are nutting stones with these little
Yes.
divots in them for breaking up walnuts and hickories, grinding things. And a lot of times they have them on both sides for whatever reason.
And this is, most of these came from the same piece of property,
Okay.
all in Kershaw County.
Home Kershaw County?
Is that an error?
Nope.
It's just a rock?
It's a rock that looks like, it's what Charlie Brown got on Halloween.
That's why I brought it.
It's got the right shape, but
Right.
this is, this kind of material, you can grind it, but you can't chip it and flake it and make a spear point.
Right.
It's got, now we're talking.
And this all came out of the same field.
Okay. Yep.
I think that was a manufacturing place up there where they made arrowheads.
Well,
And that area. This is at the junction of Granny's Quarter Creek and the Waterbury River.
okay.
It's a high place right above the river.
Okay.
So obviously it was an Indian settlement there.
Yeah. We get those big creeks that come in.
Some of those may be rocks, but I think.
No, these are all spear points, and believe it or not, they're finished.
The finished points?
They're finished points now. So the spear points in the early archaic, the period before these, they choose really good material. They build them to last. And I always say, these are like standing tools,
So
right?
these did not have hooks on them when they were built, is that correct, or did they?
Hooks.
These little.
The notches, no.
Notches, not-
No, these are what we call stem points. So these are Stanley, remember Stanley tools?
Yes,
Built to last, right? Guaranteed for life. You take a sledgehammer when you're mad and break one, go back to Sears, they give you a new one.
right.
These are Kmart 59-cent special screwdrivers.
Okay,
And they make them and they throw them away. My professor used to say they're like ticks on a dog. There's a lot of them.
yeah.
But these are all what we call Guilfords and Morrill Mountains, and they all date between 6,000 and 7,000 years old.
Wow.
And they're almost often made of quartz. So you see, these early ones are usually made of more glass-like rocks, and these types are almost always made of quartz. Well, that one's a little different. But yeah,
This one's a little different.
yeah, see that would fall in this Guilford range.
Okay,
And then some of these are more Morrill Mountain-like, and there's not a lot of difference. They kind of blend into one another, and they are the same time frame. So
those are called, that one would be called a Guilford.
this is the Guilford, and this is the Morrill Mountain type. If you want to take a picture with your phone, then
I was going to say, what do you call these stones? I know they're arrows, but is there a period, or are they dated?
yeah, these are what we call Middle Archaic.
Middle archaic.
Middle Archaic. It's a time of widespread global warming. It's hotter in South Carolina than it is in modern era.
Right.
And people are living all over the place. Prior to that, they're living by the river. After that, they're living by the river, but they're pretty much all over. If you want me to move that for this.
That's helpful. I'm very interested in what I have here. And particularly interested because they all came off, most of these came off one track.
Where was it up there?
Right, Greensport Creek. Greensport Creek runs into one of those.
North side, upriver, or the one below there?
Below Greensport Creek. On this side of Greensport Creek.
That's where Champions Land.
Yes, the champion property, most of this stuff.
Okay, so this is one step up from that. That's a Savannah River point. So this is from what we call the late Archaic. So they make these for a few thousand years. And we think of these as knives. Some of them are like this big.
Yes.
And we think of those as knives because it really wouldn't function well as a spear point. We find bone and antler spear points, the same thing. We find bone and antler spear points in the shell bins at the coast.
Yes.
Where the shell changes the, you can come on over.
That's all right. I just want to just snap that so I can get the date. That's what I'm looking for.
So the question is, do bone and antler points occur in non-shell sites? And the answer is probably yes.
See, this was right on the area where there's a lot of fishing going on. This was a little piece of pottery that I found while I was looking around. And I assume that's Indian pottery, but
Yep. This herringbone style is early, probably around 1150, 1250 AD. It's the earliest Mississippian culture, mound builder cultures that we see in the Watery Valley.
it would just indicate to me that that's a perfect location for a village.
Where this
It's
is?
a high, yes, it's a high point.
Oh, this is the same spot now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
A high point convergence of a major creek and a major
Yeah,
river.
I've been on the property on the other side of the Green, the upriver side. of
Yes, okay, right.
It's called the Village Color.
And these are the pieces that I enjoy most.
Ah, now we're talking.
How about that one?
Even better. You know what these are?
No,
These are banner stones. These are spear thrower weights.
a spear thrower weights.
Yeah, so the spear thrower is a stick about 2 feet long.
Right,
It's got a hook at one end and a handle at the other.
okay.
And these, we used to think that these were something that, if this is the hook and this is the handle, these are about 3/4 from the handle to the hook. We thought it gave you more torque when you throw, but some people did some tests. They threw spears with and without it. No statistically significant velocity, distance, or accuracy. So we think now, if you're standing in your blind, ready to strike, anybody deer hunt?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You got to be perfectly still, right?
Yes.
Or they'll see you. So that's a counterbalance that keeps this spear that's way out here from you having to constantly keep it in balance. It's a counterbalance. But this is an interesting rock, and it's highly polished. And then this is one that's
Struck by a tractor.
yes, several times.
Plant
And then this is one that broke in half. So
Yes.
this one, we call these butterfly-shaped ones. They kind of got the butterfly look to it. And then this one is not as stylized, but broke. And of course, it's the weak point. You can see where it broke.
Yes,
It broke.
yes.
It broke both
When
twice.
I found it, it was full of mud, and I just saw a rock. And I picked it up, and I saw a little bit of hook right there, so I started messing
Started
with it.
pushing it through. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and look how accurate that hole is through the middle of it. How do they do that?
You know, they're either using a stone drill. They scratch out a little hole, and then they get some coarse sand off the river sandbar, stick it in there, and then use that and then blow that away because they turn the marbles perfectly smooth. You could probably use cane the same way and use it in your hand. Again, putting the grainy sand in there, or you could use a bow drill. You know, take your bow, wrap your spindle around it, have a rock with a hole up here so you don't drill in your hand, and then
That hole is so perfect.
it's
And what
a lot of
period-
times-
What period of time is it?
these are middle and late archaic, so they go with everything you've shown me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes they're drilled from both sides, and you can see where they're not exactly lined up.
exactly, right.
But that, if they did do that, they came back and reamed it out.
Right.
But like you say, that is a perfect hole through the center of
Is
it.
that a fairly rare find?
Whole ones are kind of rare, yeah. I mean, we seen them, but
Yeah.
we usually find it like that.
Oh, yeah. I know. I've seen several of those, but that's very interesting. Let's see. I had a couple of little points in here that are a little bit different. this is probably one of these with a point working on it.
Yeah, that falls in your Savannah River range.
Right, good. And the last one I found, this one was not found on that property. This was found on the banks of the Wateree Road,
Okay.
Wateree Lake.
And we just saw a whole frame of these earlier. This is earlier.
Earlier,
So this is a side notched point. And so this is going to fall back here between 10 and 11,000.
wow, that's a long.
So you've got the entire archaic sequence from early through middle through late
On the same piece of property.
on the same piece of
So that
property.
shows you there was a civilization there for maybe
Yeah, you know,
1,000 years.
they find the good places to camp.
Yeah.
These are mold.
This
these
is
are
the
mold
perfect,
people.
if you were looking for a place to put a camp,
Yeah.
if you were an Indian, this would be the place.
And then they're mobile people, they're in and out, you know, it's like a state park campground, you know, you're there one weekend, Lon's there the
Right,
next, and a
right.
couple weeks later, I'm there.
Right,
It's constantly being used by different people, or in and out, in and out.
right.
So yes, we got that whole shooting match.
Well, I think that's the whole show.
Okay, well, good stuff.
Thank you very much. It is fun, particularly since I found it myself. Oh, this is the other piece that I had, so this one, that I've had since I was a child. That did not come from Kershaw County,
Yeah,
but it's very similar to these stones.
it would fall in the Savannah River, Broad River range, yeah. A little bit different, the tip broke off,
Yeah.
but it looks like they kind of reworked it, maybe as a wedge.
Thank you very much. It's a
Pleasure.
great fun. I have another.
You can hear if I take a picture of this
Absolutely not. It's this is another stone that I found. It looks like it has an indentation. It's too big to bring. But I took a picture from the top, looking down on it, and then from the side, showing that little shallow place. Does that look like something they use maybe as a working bowl?
I don't know if they did or not. I've seen this kind of multicolored rock before, but I'm not sure what it is.
On the when you look down on the inside, this looks almost like it's been scraped out circular. In the hole, right in the hole.
So is it about the size of these?
Bigger. It's about that big.
Okay.
That hole. And the rock is about this big,
Gotcha.
and I didn't want to drag it.
I see, yeah. I'm not sure what that is. It could be an anvil or something like this, just in a bigger form.
That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
Just got a little ridge up on the side, and then that's almost a perfect ring around that open area. That's what made me think that it may be.
Because that could be human work. Yeah, that could be work. But for what, I don't know.
Yeah, good. Some kind of bowl.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much. That's
absolutely.
wonderful.
Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. There'll be some others coming, I'm sure. Have you seen some interesting things today?
We have. We've seen a lot of points. We've seen a tiny bit of pottery.
That's the only piece of pottery that I've found.
And everything we've seen is that type.
Yeah, really, yeah.
The Mississippi stamped ware.
Right. Let's find this
Well,
one.
I talked to, they don't find a lot of pottery in that area that you're talking about.
No, I have not seen any pottery and don't know of any really found up there. I just accidentally bumped into that while I was airheading and just pulled it out. Said, I don't know if this is after the white guys got here or before. So, nice to see it. But this is my favorite piece. That was a unusual find.
Oh, yeah.
That was an accidental find. It was not found on the same part of the property that I found most things. It was found away from the river.
I got you.
So but it's interesting to think about something that was used, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. So I had one rock, okay?
One more piece of pottery.
One rock.
And you did good.
Yeah. Got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. But the fun part is finding it all yourself. I appreciate your time and interest.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming to Camden and showing us.
Well, this works both ways. I learn stuff and you learn stuff. And it keeps me out of trouble on a Saturday.
I understand that. So, I have to go back and restore my rock to its proper place. Thank you very much. That came with me too. Have a wonderful
Pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Fun.
That's the end of my show.
Good to see you.
Come on up.
When I go out today, I come from Cushing County.
That's okay.
Yes. Anyway, I came from Virginia, that's my home state. And because of, there are a lot of arrowheads found there over the years, and it's actually called Arrowhead Farm.
Really?
Back when all that was going on, a lot of the arrowheads were found when my relatives were working in the gardens, plowing the fields. They would just pick them up and put them in jars. And at that time, I had no interest in that sort of thing. It was just everyday life. My son found this in a horse pasture right near the house and brought it up and showed it to me.
This looks like a preform. You know, they go to the quarry and instead of carrying the boulder. They make a bunch of preforms. These rocks are as sharp as any scalpel in the hospital today, but they don't fast. So they don't make them until they need them, but it broke. What they're doing is they start out kind of big and they are simultaneously thinning and shaping. So they're making it thin, they're putting it in this case, a lancelet-like form. They have done a little bit of pressure flaking along the edge to start to make that. So they percussion flake for big strikes, and then when they want to make little, they use the end of an antler and just press off flakes on both sides like that. But that's what that is.
Okay. Do you have any idea of age or anything?
No, it's hard to say because they're making those for a lot of these different
A lot of
periods.
that.
If I had to guess, I would put it early.
Okay.
I put it in the 9 to 11,000 year range, but
It was
don't
found
hold me to that. That's a guess.
Okay.
I can't really pin that one down close.
all right, well, but thank you, that's okay. We've lived out of Virginia for about 20 years, so I hadn't had a chance to take it to anybody there, but very much.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming by. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
I appreciate it, and this is lovely, what a neat chart.
This is from a book that, on South Carolina stone tools that you can buy on Amazon.
Really, okay.
This is blown up, but there's a book of all the different stone tools in South Carolina. It's called Stone Tools of South Carolina, I think. But you find it on Amazon, and it's got that in there. But then it's got close-up pictures of all of these types, little descriptions of them and how old they are.
I love it.
I should have brought mine with me
Yeah.
to show people.
But thank you.
Yeah, take care. Good morning.
Good to see you.
How's things? What's going on?
Just trying to educate these kids.
What do you got? Oh, I see.
Board. That's
How are you?
Board, and this is Silas.
How are you? All right.
That one's my favorite.
This is your favorite?
This is-
You know, that would kind of, well, that makes sense, right? This is yours and this is yours? Come on over here. These are all the different spear points and arrowheads that we find in South Carolina. And yours are going to go, we call these Savannah River points.
This one looks like it goes there.
Well, this is the same shape, but it's bigger. See, so if you kind of go, these are almost actual size. So, but that's a Savannah River, so it's between 3,000 and 5,000 years old. This is probably more of a Broad River type. or Savannah River, but they're both from the same time period. Did you find these in the same place?
I don't know.
On the same piece of property.
Same piece of property? Okay. You found them yourself?
No.
No? Somebody found them and gave them to you? Aren't you lucky?
Chris, the guy that just left here, Mr.
Don Terrell.
He owns the property.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, those are neat.
I
So
also have, there's a live one.
you got more?
Not right now.
I know what I think it is, but you tell me.
The Bannerstone?
Or Atlatl Lake.
Yeah, that way it's another name for it. Yeah, I just saw a couple of these. So this is interesting. It broke and they reworked it.
How would they have done that reworking?
How would they drill these?
Or what?
They could either use a stone drill or a reed
Yeah,
drill.
this is what I
But
have.
in modern replications, what they do is they get really coarse sand off of like a river bar and stick it in there and let that be an abrasive. And then pretty soon they're just like marbles. They're smooth. You blow it out, put new ones in.
I have
That's called a Savannah River Point.
one of,
But these, we used to think that these were for the spear throw, that it gave you more torque and force.
I have this paper.
But we think of it now as a counterbalance. So you've got that spear out there and you're trying to be still and you're gonna see you. You'll be constantly trying to keep that thing in balance because they tested these with and without, and there's no increase of velocity or distance or
I thought
accuracy.
it was
with-
momentum and inertia.
That's, we felt that for the longest time. They did a test where they threw 100 spears with them, 100 without, and there's no statistical
What
difference.
era did they do that?
These are for the spear thrower, so they're using these from early archaic through
How does
up
this?
through the Savannah River Point. Then the runner comes in and these go away from the.
I have,
It's a really nice one. So,
I have one of this.
you got an Allen point?
I have one of this thing.
Oh, you got a Guilford? Yeah. Oh, this look
And, but
pretty.
it's that.
It's that one? Yeah, let's take all these.
Just, it's mine. It's a different one I have at home.
You got it at home? Well, now you know what it is. All right, so look at that. That's your oldest one. It's a Hardaway side notch.
How old is it?
11,000 years old. Yeah, be careful, don't push that up, it'll be on you, not me. But. And then that is also a side notch, it is a short one.
This is the biggest one.
This is
I would say the one that you wouldn't really get hit with most of that one.
yeah, see, this is a preform.
So is it kind of odd that all these were found on the same piece of property?
No, because as we were saying earlier, the places that are good to live, they're good then, they're good now.
Yeah.
You're near water, you're on well-drained soils.
You see the stone there? That was imported, huh?
Yeah, this looks like, excuse me, guys, sorry, didn't mean to bump into you. Yeah, that's a rhyolite, probably from the mountains of North Carolina, and it's just weathered, but on the fresh break, you can see what that material really looks like. But it decays, it's like a potato. Okay, so a bunch of Savannah River-like stuff. You got your Guilford.
This is my
Right
favorite.
there. That's gonna fall on Memorial Mountain.
Which one do you think this one is?
This one is somewhere in your Savannah River, Broad River.
Just leave them on
Stays.
leave them on the paper for right now.
Yeah. You got your phone with you? You want to take a picture of these all laid out?
Not right now.
You can take some clothes. You don't have a phone? You know what? That's.
Not right now.
I wish I didn't have one. I do. So let's put all these Savannah rivers up here where they go. Well, they're, like I say, they're blessing and a curse. This kind of looks like a LaCroix. It's got a little bit of an indent in it. It may not be finished. This one is somewhere down here in these early notched points. So is that. It's going to be up in the Savannah River one. That's kind of an oddball, but I'm going to put that up in here as well. It's just not what we're used to seeing. But if you want to come over and get a
We can
picture.
take a picture of these and this
The oldest one's
So
this.
this could be anywhere in that whole range, really.
Is this one the oldest?
No, where'd it go? This one's the oldest, but this one's right on its heels.
All right, back up, boys. We're gonna take a
You
picture.
get some pictures, make sure you get the dates and the names and everything. Oh, welcome to come over if you want.
Yeah.
Go get them, or you want to come over and get a close-up? Good for you.
That's a good way of doing it. I like that chart. Is that available somewhere?
It is actually, but not in that size. I had it blown out, but it's in a book called The Stone Tools of South Carolina by Chris Moore and Tom Jones. You can buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
And it's got close-ups and descriptions and gives you distribution maps of the ranges of South Carolina where different types are found in quantities.
Did we bring that little, really small one from?
This,
No, there was one even smaller.
well, I mean, once we've got this, we can go.
What time is this one?
Which gun?
So in there.
Oh, I don't know anything about the guns. Mr. Lon over there might be able to tell you about the guns. I do the arrowheads.
So the little quartz look like bird points. Those are more of the woodland era.
Yeah, they're, depending on their size, they start in the woodland. They're your early, you get two different kinds of arrowheads. You get the little tiny stemmed woodlands, we call them, and they replicate every other, all these are earlier forms. You know, this one looks like the Hardaway. So that's one type. We think they came in from the west, and then the triangular ones come from the north-south. And so depending on the size, the woodland ones are much larger than the Mississippian ones. The Mississippian ones could be about the size of your thumbnail, and the woodland ones are, you know.
So they didn't actually use a bow and arrow until the early woodland.
We've got one of the Mississippian triangular ones.
Those tiny ones. I mean, some of them are so small, but I think what you see here, I've thought about this for a long time. Your bows are getting better. And so all you need is a needle to make the incision. It's the shaft of the arrow that does the damage. And so they're spending their time doing other things. They're farming. So when they're farming, they don't have a lot of time to sit around and so they're just making simple little tiny things. Yes, sir.
So what time is this one?
This is what's called a Miller point. These are some of the oldest ones. They're between 16 and 19,000 years old, and I cut it off at the bottom there, but there's not a lot of those. They find them at a place called the Topper Site in Allendale County, and it's a quarry where this type of rock is found.
Do you think there's anything to that idea that there's a layer below the Topper site that's even older?
Oh, there's the book. The 25, I mean, the 30, the 50,000 stuff. You know, Al Goodger, my professor and friend, he got dates. They've got this big thing they call a topper chopper. So it's here, a little bit over and a little bit down, they find a hearth and profile in the wall of the excavation. It's got 7 different kinds of wood, carbon in it. They send 2 samples off. One is 54,000 years old and one is 51. The radiocarbon is dead at 40. So that could be 2 million years old or it could be 50 years old. So those dates don't jive. And those early dates are not accepted. But at the 16 to 19, the pre-Clovis that produces the Miller, or what they call sometimes Haw River points, that's why they accept it now. It's kind of
So the
skeptical at
land
first.
bridge was around 14,000 to 12,000
The land
years.
bridge is open at 50,000 years ago for a period of time and around 25,000 years ago for a period of time.
So would that Topper idea kind of rewrite that whole?
Well, the topper, there's early sites at Cactusville, Virginia, Saltville, Virginia, and Meadowcroft, Rockstone, and Pittsburgh, and then the topper. That has led some people to speculate that people are coming from Europe during the Ice Age. The proof is not there. So what we'd want to find is, you know, a piece of European flint made into one of these type of tools, and that hasn't come. But it's you know, if people are in boats really early, then there's no reason why they couldn't come. And a lot of the early sites are on the eastern part of continent.
What did they use to make the circle such
Okay.
good?
To make that hole so good?
Yeah.
Okay, so they use either a stone drill or you know what river cane is? Bamboo, you know what bamboo is?
Yes.
Okay, bamboo is an Asian one. It's got a flat side, but river cane, which is native to South Carolina, is perfectly round. So you ever do it drilling like that? Or make fire? You ever see people make fire with a bow?
Yeah.
So that's the way they would do it. And then to get it really smooth, they might have got a strap of leather and stuck it through there and then pulled it through a bunch of times and just smoothed it out.
A lot of work.
Sitting around the fire.
When
Was
you got
that
the nutting stones,
Yeah.
what era would they have fallen in? Here? I mean,
You see them in the archaic and into the woodland. You know, they're for processing nuts.
right.
Generally,
Got quite a few.
Yeah.
And the point, I mean, it's the same idea. Take a long time to make that hole. I got
Yeah.
one that did it on both sides.
yes, you often see them on both sides.
The dovetailing and this is obviously lashing to make it into the arrow. It's-
Yeah, so that's what we call a hafting element. So this sits down into a piece of split wood, and then the sinew or whatever the cordage they're using sits right in the notch.
And that's distinct for this era. You don't see it a lot in the,
The notching is really early. In some of the early arrow points, you see some notching.
but the Clovis would be more just the fluting to
Yeah, the Clovis has this flute, and so your foreshaft sits on the flute. And the idea about that is the way those are used is you got a spear, you're holding one end, and the business end is in the belly of a very large animal. So what you want to be able to do is hit, pull out, and maybe hit again before you run like a chicken.
And do you think it has anything to do with allowing bleeding, like
Yes,
opening it up?
that's exactly what it is. You want that thing to go in several times. The notches, they're thrown with the spear thrower at deer, elk, things like that, and all these little edges. You know, your two ears, these points. As that animal runs away, if it's not killed instantly, it's born a giant.
Opening a bigger hole.
As the muscles are contracting, it's running away. It's just boring a huge hole and bleeding that animal so that you don't have to track it and find it far from where to hit it.
And the thicker ones like this, I mean, this seems hard to believe that you could penetrate an animal's skin with a thick. Is this like, would they throw this away or would they hunt with something like that? I mean, do they keep working on it until they get it?
The question about these is, are they spear points or are they knives? And we think they're more put onto a handle and used as a knife, like a sheath knife for butchering and things like that. At the coast in the shell mins at this time, there's bone and antler points. And a couple of friends of mine did a high-tech experiment. They made spears with stone, bone, and antler tips. Step one. Step two, consumption of a large amount of carbonated beverages, not soda. Third step, Mrs. Taylor had to go to bed. They were at the Taylor residence, and they attacked the garage when she went to bed. Stone ones break almost all the time, bone and antler don't. So do you throw something that's going to break? And are the bone and antler points everywhere? When DeSoto got to Camden, they described a quiver of a guide, an Indian guide that's going to take them. And he's got a fish scale one, he's got a fish bone one, like maybe a catfish spine, cane, ivory, which could be ivory or antler, wood. And so he's got a whole bunch of organic. They rot away. We don't find them. We find the durable ones. But some of these are.
And you harvest an animal, especially a large animal, you have a lot of bone.
Yes.
Used, and it's just why would you waste it?
Yeah, they've got all those long bones that are you can sock it and
you can sharpen a piece of bone, really sharp, right, and make it to make a nice little area.
Get a grainy stone and just work it.
It'd probably be a lot easier than doing it to a piece of stone.
It might be quicker. We'll probably work it green.
And you eat the marrow probably anyway.
They're extracting marrow because a lot of times we'll see the long bones are cut and split, and they're going after the marrow.
So they think we're just sitting around because they were probably either hunting or sitting in the place making arrowheads, making preforms. They probably had a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And they probably just discarded those, and we find those all the time, just the broken pieces. Could be looks like it would be an arrowhead, how they kept working on it.
You figure you got no internet, no television, no cell phone, you know, a lot
Lifespan.
of time on your hands to be making, you know, banner stones and points.
Yeah, lifespan was probably 20 years if you made it out on 25.
You know, the ones we see, actually, that we start to see skeletons in the later cake, and they're between 35 and 55.
Okay.
Now, their 35-year-old person is arthritic and lots of injuries, rotator cuff damage.
These are mostly found in disc fields along, and the property goes down to the river, so there's a lot of different heights and elevations and types of soil, you know.
And they found on all these.
Most of these are found about halfway up the hill or on top of the hill on disc fields. But you think, I mean, as far, and these fields have been disc over and over for 100 years. So those have been hunted over a lot of times. And a lot of people have been out there looking for arrowheads. If you were to want to look for in a new area, like just along roads or something, maybe that are like washed out where it's rained, do you think that'd be like an ideal spot to maybe expand their?
Anywhere where there's ground disturbance, you're going to probably find this stuff.
That's the oddest thing. I mean, these guys picked up these guys' leftovers and reworked them, don't you think?
There's evidence where they do pick up these things. So I was working on a site that the Spanish visited in the 16th century, and we're digging a council house, and one of the big 4 posts that hold up the ceiling had a Hedgefield scraper in it, which is a late archaic scraping tool, and it was gigantic. So that they had found it and probably thought of it. In Australia, Dick Gould from Brown University was following Australian Aborigines around, studying their hunting and gathering behavior, and they would go into rock shelters and dig into archaeological sites, get raw material, and rework some old points.
Is there evidence that Mayans had made it as far up as Ohio, that they had gone all the way up the coast? You ever find any type of?
There's no good evidence for this. Southeastern archaeologists have long said no to Mesoamerican connection. Our colleagues in the West think we're nuts because they see macaw feathers and different things that are traded up. And I imagine there was some contact, but whether Mayans visited the continental U.S., I don't know of anybody that has evidence of that. They're not that far away.
No.
You know,
And the Aztec were from north, right, of Tenochtitlan.
Yeah.
They migrated south.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, people are naturally adventurous. You know, you got people that want to wander far and wide, you know.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the connection of the Aztec and then that Castilian region in Spain, where they've got they're finding that the people, they have a connection to the Aztec. There's like a region in Spain that is there, and they say that they migrated north into Britain. There's some sort of connection between Europe and Aztec and genetics.
I don't know about that. Out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's weird. You know, talk about coming over from Europe and the connection there, and then the stories from Cortez, or the Aztec, when Cortez came, they had prophecies that someone with a white beard returned from the east on a boat with no oars. You know, like, and I was just making me think that, you know, you're saying that Europeans could have possibly come over earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe there was tales of that.
Yeah. So the Europeans coming in to the eastern United States in the Ice Age, you know, they're in kayaks and they're just coming around and camping on the ice from France and Spain. And when you come around, the first port of entry that's not covered in ice is the Chesapeake. Yeah. So Pittsburgh, Saltville, Virginia, they're all kind of a short shot from there. Still looking for that evidence. What they're doing is they're going down to the docks, people that trawl the bottom, fishermen, that they go down there and they say, hey, we found any points? Because, you know, the shoreline was way off where it is now as the ocean's risen. And they almost always go below deck and come up with, a handful of points, and they're trying to find these really strong materials.
A lot of it would probably be out at the Gulf Stream at the edge, 100 miles offshore.
Yeah. And, wave action has probably disturbed that, but, there are forests. They have places where they can see forests and things, so. Hello.
Well, we've taken up too much of your time, but appreciate it.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
You got attention span.
I know how to go. Gentlemen, pleasure.
Now you know.
If anything, get in touch with me.
Yeah, you know what we're looking for.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Taking the likeness of Main Street.
Oh, nice.
Good to see you.
Do you want to come in and sit, or are you going to sit on?
I'll just sit on there.
Okay, come on.
I have a few little things that I'm curious
Sure.
about. I have had the pleasure of hearing you speak.
Okay, what is your name?
Ponza Vaughn.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Yes,
you.
for the first time.
Well, really, I think you gave us a lecture up at the museum.
Okay. This is a Catawba canoe.
That's what I heard.
It's not signed, which could mean two things. One, they didn't sign it, or it's pre-1970. Before 1970, we don't see a lot of signatures on it, but this is a typical Catawba canoe.
Well, do you have a lot of them up at the museum?
We have 2,000 pieces of Catawba pottery at the
Okay,
Native
yeah.
American Study Center. We have the world's largest collection.
Well, do you know anybody who might want to use it for educational reasons?
The curator of art might want to use this. It's outside. I do the early stuff. She does the modern art stuff. So I could put her in touch with you.
No, just take it.
Oh, I can't accept things.
Oh,
So only she can.
only she can.
Yep. And she can't accept PowerPoints.
And
Only I
what is
can.
her
Her
name?
name is Brittany Taylor. Let me write her name
Okay.
down for you. Put it on the
If
back.
somebody can use it, I would love for them to have it.
But if you send me, you do email?
Sure.
Send me an email.
Okay,
and
I'll be
put
happy
you there.
to.
So her name is Brittany Taylor. She's curator of art.
Where'd you get it from?
My aunt collected a lot of things, and she left all of her personal property to me. And we never, she mentioned she thought it was Catawba.
Yeah.
But these other things we never talked about.
These are mini balls. They're outside of my Civil War. These are Civil War, and then this is a musket ball.
A Civil War musket ball.
No, this is earlier, I think. A nervous soldier. Chewing on it. Yeah, y'all can see these little chew marks
Oh,
on it.
my gosh.
But this is more revolutionary warlike, and these are what they call a mini ball, which are common in the Civil War. This is
I don't know what that is. A chain,
it's like a little brass ring.
bracelet.
These are fortunately are outside of my wheelhouse. But that's what those are.
Okay.
But if you'll send me an email, I'll forward it to Brittany, and just remind me canoe, and
All
I'll
right.
put you in touch with her.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Sure.
Hello there. Chris Jones.
I have a point in my hand.
Oh.
I just want to show you this. Tommy Charles looked at this
Wow.
5 years ago, and
He said that he was the expert.
he was interested in it. And it's obviously a preform.
Called it fluted preform?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's old too.
Yeah, Laurel, Lancaster County.
Okay.
And found this. Unfortunately, there's enough
Looks like
there.
kind of looks like an early point too.
Yeah.
Huh. And is it Jasper?
I'm not sure. Somebody said Coastal Plains Church, but I don't know.
Really red. It looks, the weathering looks like church, but maybe they heat treated it.
Yeah.
Got that bright red.
That's from around Stoneboro, Frank Steen's territory.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Frank directed me on a couple of those sites to look.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and some old pottery that I found on the property. I had no idea how to date any of this. But,
Well, it's a beer bottle, ginger beer bottle,
okay.
beer bottle. I think these are 19th century, but yeah, I'm not, you got whole ones of these in the museum?
Yeah, I was going to ask Lon about some of those too.
I got one at home.
I found this in our property. Right by the old Battle Camden site.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like a pearl there. That's from the 18th century. Let's see if I can find a picture of the beer book.
If you look on the Tarleton map, our property is on the map, and there's a couple of structures there from the Tarleton map.
There you go. So that would be, let's see. You need to put 19th century in there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you've probably seen those before. So you're right on the edge between the two different colors.
It was 18th century.
I think these are 19th century.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, 19.
A lot of them were made in Scotland. Sometimes they have makers marks on them.
It was, I think it's part of the Spring Hill plantation.
Oh, okay.
That Mickle owned.
Yes.
There may have been some sharecroppers at that time.
That's a good possibility, yeah.
I know there was some depression glass there, but hard to tell, identified, so.
Okay.
I think these are 19th century, so they would be this is pearlware, which is a little earlier. It's a little hard to see, but there's like little blue dots in the paste. And the other way is you put it on white paper. It's got a different, little bit of a different. You can see a little blue dot right there. Which so is the sign of pearlware, but that's like a deep dish plate.
Okay.
With a scallop dish. And that was
Got the same period.
Yeah, neat.
Yes. Now,
That's
these are
quite
both
nice.
from Lower Lancaster County, so if you would like them to.
Can I take a picture of it?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Tommy Charles looked at it and,
How good you.
yeah, Al Goodyear, Al wasn't quite as impressed as Tommy.
He wasn't. He's a funny read sometimes.
Piece of cotton paper, has some liner on it.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Lon. You saved me in Liberty Hill too. But Janice.
Back in Europe, my son and I, we don't dig, we just do, back in the 80s, when the paper companies were plowing hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, we were able to look without any issues. We just found, I've got probably 5,000 or 6,000 points, most of them Kershaw and Lancaster County.
Yeah, with no-till farming, it's not, they don't do a lot of ground disturbing anymore, do they?
No,
Not like they did in the 70s and 80s.
no.
It's really nice
We've got some property up just by the Valley Canyon site, we just recently timbered it. And finding some stuff, gorgeous, found a couple of coordinates,
Stone
both broken.
Oh, yeah.
Where was that at? Up on the land, up near the Valley Canyon.
Well, that was on that little Indian path. Yeah.
So this one's in lower Lancaster County, so.
And we turn some of the lights off, we can.
I think I'm gonna be able to get it. Yeah, that's just good.
I know when they seen down quite a few fields.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found, some of them were like right in their yard, their driveway.
Found a crystal plug like this front yard.
Yeah, I took some pictures of it years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He had a number of crystals. That's what he showed me.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for looking at it.
Yeah, well, you know, that area, it's got a lot of stone. I mean, Stone Burrows.
Yeah.
I don't know where that, I don't know if that's a family name or what, but, you know, the gold mine.
I think it's called stone.
The gold mine, and you got all those big anvil stone and everything, rock shelters. But the gold mine, quartz, crystal quartz and gold are kind of a lot of times together. And so I think, and I just went and saw, let me show you this. Oh, is it in here?
We've done a lot of, you remember, probably don't remember this, probably been 15 years ago. I sent you up there at Stonesboro or whatever, making that bowl at the side of the green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were working at the facility and like, we will come by that road.
Is that stone that has they're in Stoneboro, I mean, they're Liberty Hill.
Liberty Hill is a stone.
Yeah.
No, that's a different one.
Yeah, okay, I've got a picture of Harvey Teal standing by that.
Yes. But they had one like Liberty Hill. Here, there's singing sites too.
That's the quartz quarry. That's all primary reduction.
Let me put my glasses and see that.
There's a place up off of Flat Rock Road that is similar to that.
Where did you say that?
That's in Lancaster County, almost into North Carolina.
Yeah. Good Lord, it's like snow.
It looks like a snow patch, doesn't it? Yeah. She was taking me around and she was showing me all this stuff that was nothing.
I'm Mary Palmer, Dargan. Nice to see you.
Yes, Dargan.
Yeah.
You from Darlington?
My husband is, and he'll be here in a little bit. He just broke 8 ribs, and so he's coming. No, he's driving over from. We live in town now. We're new here.
Oh, okay.
But I realized when I had I've been an avid childhood crinoid collector, and then my father. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
We were covered up with Mississippian lambs.
Yes.
And then I've always kind of kept stuff. And then I'm a landscape architect. So when I was in school at LSU, I went and camped. I was going to do my master's thesis on the Native American as America's first landscape architect. And I thought that'd be a great topic. I'm still interested in it. And then I camped at Poverty Point, and me and my little dog, and I had the best time. And I looked around and realized I had Poverty Point pieces surrounding me on top of the ground. So I have some of them in here. But I think what you're really interested in is stuff local.
I'll look whatever you have. Yeah.
Well, this is as local as I got. When I was living in Pendleton, I was a professor at Clemson. I went into the shop, and he told me these were Indian marbles in a bottle. And I think they're beautiful. And I could see they might be, but I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Aren't they cool? Who knows?
I see these all the time.
Oh, you
I have no idea what to tell you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
okay, well, I could see them moving around.
I don't know if there are people making their own marbles, European people.
There was a marble factory in Macon, Georgia during the Civil War, and I don't know if these look similar to those.
Well, they're from such different stones.
They obviously chose very pretty stones to show off, for that. They picked them for that reason.
Okay, so that's okay. That's all the extra.
That's kind of out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I thought that was one I could.
Yeah.
And then, but this is from Tennessee, and it doesn't count. But I do like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty thing. And here's my fossil. You don't need to have that.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
And there's a Poverty Point piece. It made us.
These are hoes or ads for woodworking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a pretty one. I just found it. I was in a field walking around, and that was on top of the ground. Anyway, you can kind of see what's in here. It's all. Some of them are partially made.
And these are all Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm sure that's my Tennessee sack. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, because this material is, if we find this here, it's extra local. Now, we do find some of this Ridge and Valley Church from Tennessee in the Watering Valley with its tree ends.
No, I bought that. Sorry, it's stuck in that sack. Or maybe actually, I think I found it. I think I've lost some. It's my Poverty Point piece. I think that is. Oh, that looks like I don't know. That is a bone. But they look, I may have lost them over time, but they were really, you've seen them, I'm sure.
I have seen pictures of them.
Oh, they fit your hand.
Yeah.
That's what's so bizarre is so these are all church. These are all Tennessee too. See those. Oh, I'll be sad if I've lost them. No, that's not a mini bone, that's just a rock. Oh well, so much for my treasures. That's a piece of the same stuff. I had a beautiful black one. Someone walked off with it. Yeah, I had a perfect black one. I know that's not anything. That's just me looking at something.
Cool rocks.
Yeah, cool rock. That's a piece of something. It was almost something, right? It was chiseled.
Well, that's a piece that broke for me. It's got a nice stem on the tip is missing.
Sick, I've lost that really, and that's been chipped on.
Oh yeah. That's a drill. That's a drill.
That's a drill. That's interesting. Neat.
I've seen a couple of bandage stones. That would be perfect for drilling a hole for a bandage stone.
I lost my Poverty Point pieces.
Oh no!
Someone probably thought they were too. Darn. Well,
hopefully it's in another bag somewhere.
I hope so. But
in the house, but not lost.
But they fit my hand perfectly. And the thing is, they were all over the ground. I mean, I camped, and they were like, oh my God, these are like what was Poverty Point?
Poverty Point is later archaic, so it's around 5,000 years old.
Yeah, they're just on top of the ground.
This one.
I don't know if it's just a stone or if it's a thing. I'm not sure where I got it.
You can see where they were
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
maybe trying to make an X out of that. It's green.
You've probably seen a million of those, but I like it. What I really like is my crinoid. That's the oldest thing I've got.
Yeah.
That's a pretty piece, though, isn't it? The color is so good.
Well, this is a church that's been heat treated. It gets the red and it's got this waxy kind of shine to it. This could be local. Is that something down here maybe?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I wasn't very scientific.
That's okay.
I tend to think, because see, I didn't really embed myself in South Carolina until I got married 40 years ago. We didn't do any of this, but I always pick up stuff. But that's a piece, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Now, you know, landscape archaeology has become a big thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do my niche PhD in. And I did a course in palynology. It has a different name.
Yeah, palynology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was-
study of pollen.
When I was in graduate school at plantations to see what was there in their agricultural. It was fun. I did a lot of that, actually.
Nicole Eisenbarger, who's the archaeologist in Charlestown Landing in Charleston, they've been doing a lot of palynology and phytolith studies, you know, trying to figure out what were the crops and what were they planting. They found incredible things.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to publish that.
Oh, I look forward to reading that.
Yeah.
I knew Michael Trinkley.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did a project at Crowfield to save it.
Oh, yeah.
Or not,
Yeah.
with him 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Mike is. I don't see him much, but occasionally I'll have a question for him and email him, and he'll bounce right back at me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He did.
So light.
Like Marl Poly, or something.
I've seen the whole Marl.
Polyfloor.
No idea what
I
that
don't know
is.
what it is.
Apologize, but I don't.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Well, you call this stump the expert.
Stump the expert, yeah. I'm free to admit it.
Are these any merit?
Yeah, there are a bunch of things in there that are good. Pieces. There's one that's 5,000 years old. How old is that?
That's probably in the 1,000 to 800 years old.
Yeah, it's a newcomer.
Well, kind of, yeah. Compared to some of the things we've been looking at today.
What's the earliest you've seen today?
The earliest we've seen today is the Hardaway Dalton, which is 12,000 years old.
Wow.
I only saw one.
And that was found locally?
Yeah, everything we've seen was found in Kershaw County.
Good Lord.
That's
What's that fellow comes out here?
Kim. Is it?
No.
No, I just, I can't think of it. Wendy. This is what?
Randy something.
Randy is.
Well, I'm at USC Lancaster at the Native American Studies Center. Tell him he wants to come by.
Yeah, we will.
Come see us.
He wanted to, he
I
has a
was
lot.
Georgia last.
He has black
Went out to
ones.
To the mound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the best thing I've ever.
That's an impressive site. A lot of times I go to sites and it's all below ground and I'm talking about, but there you're looking
I mean, I was
in the flesh.
blown away.
Yeah.
He said he had paleos, that they had black
Oh,
paleo
really?
tips. And he had some made of clear quartz.
Yeah.
But he said that paleo. So we had a nice conversation. It was good to know.
Well, I'd like to see the paleo points. You don't see too many of those. There's 800 recorded for South Carolina,
Really, well, then he needs to come.
and there's millions of all the other ones.
Oh, yeah, only 800. Well, he
Yeah.
does. And they are black, or they come in black.
They come in different colors, depending on the rock, yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Multi
Take care.
has something in his pocket he wants to show you.
Oh, okay.
That's the answer. He's got it. 12,000 years old.
Look, it looks just like the Simpson.
This is somewhere up in the Savannah River, Broad River. So 3 to 5,000 years old range.
I found that when I was like 65 years ago, where historic Camden is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, literally, I think, right near where the Kershaw Wallace house is. My dad owned a little piece of land down there, and I remember I think it was winter, and I don't know if there had been corn or something, I can't remember really. But I didn't find many arrowheads in my life, so I remember finding.
Yeah.
Your pocket did. How can you tell the difference between this one and that one?
Which one? The one
And up there?
these are painfully thin, and those
Oh.
What kind of rock is this, do you reckon?
this looks like
It looks like a soft rock to me.
yeah, well, it's weathered. If you broke it in half, I don't recommend that. This is a porphyritic rhyolite, I believe, that's just really weathered. So it's a rock that's common in the mountains of North Carolina, but we see it all across South Carolina, at least the eastern half of South Carolina.
So the Native American people here would have gotten.
Yeah, the rock was traded widely.
Really?
Hundreds of miles, yeah.
Wow.
Because that's a really good rock. It's weathered, so you don't really realize it.
Yeah.
But there's good sources up there, and then there's quartz here, and then there's chert, which is an impure variety of flint on the Savannah River.
Okay. What do you call it? Would you write down what it's called?
Yeah.
You don't realize that
So-
we're all very good friends. I'm
Okay.
glad to see your treasure.
The little white dots, little quartz.
Thank you.
Saw that.
They're little quartz crystals that get in that rock while it's lava.
Joan saw that. I mean,
Thank
is
you.
that what this is?
Nice thing to do.
Yes. The other name for that is phenocryst.
Joan saw that.
Yeah.
So it's pyritic.
Porphyritic rhyolite, and then the little things are called phenocryst.
No, it's our site. His brother worked out there, Jim Rose. I think he volunteered for a week out there.
Johnny?
Yeah, well, and my sister did more than my brother. You talk
Who's
about
your sister?
Mary Burns. Are y'all talking about the Savannah, what's the site down there?
On the Savannah River?
Yeah.
Tupper site.
Tupper site. My sister went down there a couple of summers.
Yes, I didn't work there, but I visited often.
Okay.
Don't know if I know her.
Yeah. And Jim went down there one time with her.
Okay.
And is that's pre-COVID? They think that's
Yeah, pre-Clovis, there was a pre-Clovis component at the top, and that's the thing that Outrigger was most.
Yeah, okay.
You know, he's looking for, they went there to find paleo stuff, and they dug deeper and found older things. They found things that looked like this Haw River point.
I see.
And so it's the only pre-Clovis site documented in South Carolina. So
I see.
Clovis is, 13,000 years ago, and the pre-Clovis is like 16 to 19,000 years old. And, but it's at a quarry where the church outcrops, and so people came there all through time.
Right, wow. And the other thing is, this is a Savannah River style area. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, it's going to fall somewhere in this range, yeah.
So why do they call it that, though?
Some folks from the Peabody Museum in the 20s went and dug a site called Stallings Island on the Savannah River. They called the Pottery Stallings Island, and they called the Point Savannah River. So it's just, these are all names that archaeologists give. So Moore Mountain is where this rock occurs. Stanley is Stanley County, North Carolina. Guilford is Guilford Courthouse, North Carolina. Briar Creek's Briar Creek, Georgia.
But this rock came from that neighborhood?
Yeah, Moore Mountain is a state park in North Carolina.
Oh,
And that mountain is a mountain of this rock.
Okay. All right. It's amazing how much information one little arrowhead can generate.
So this is what your rock looks like when it's not weathered.
That's just.
Yeah, porphyritic gravel, yeah.
So
that one looks even more like yours.
Yeah. So it looks kind of hard to me, whereas this looks soft.
It's weathered. Yeah, so the rock is deteriorating, so it's become very soft.
Yeah.
Again, if you snap that open, the cross section would look like that.
So originally it's a hard rock, pretty hard rock.
Very hard rock. And it produces a sharp edge too, but it doesn't look like much now because of the weather.
I see.
And they dull very fast.
Wow.
But these are sharper than the scalpel at the hospital.
Oh, my.
Much sharper, but they dull really fast.
I see. Fascinating.
What did you say, Chris, sharper than what?
The scalpel at the hospital. Yeah. Don Crabtree was a flint knacker, I guess back in the 60s and 70s, and he couldn't ever find arrowheads, so he decided to make his own. Got really good at it. Archaeologists would bring in points and say, make me 10 of these so I can experiment. And then he had to have open heart surgery. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you got to have open heart surgery. He said, the doctor said, it's the only time ever that I told somebody that they smiled. And Don said, I'm going to make the knife you cut me open with. Let's check his head. And he did. The lawyer signed it off. They said, the incision barely bled. Cut yourself with something sharp, get that nanosecond. No, it's not going to bleed, and then it bleeds. But if you cut yourself with something jagged, blood's going everywhere. So very little blood, healed fast, and very little scar tissue because it's much thinner than the scalpel. In fact, they took their scalpel and his knife and showed it under high magnification to scare him. And there was a saw edge blade and a straight blade, and the straight blade was his. So they cut him up, and then some flint knappers who replicated in the modern era gave rotator cuff damage like a baseball pitcher. And they made their own blades to be cut up.
So what would be comparison to that and then obsidian? Which would be the sharpest?
Obsidian would be the sharpest. Yeah. Basically volcanic glass. Actually, they were doing eye surgery before lasers with obsidian blades. Believe it or not.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
She moved, so, you'll be getting autographs question that.
Have y'all known everybody that came?
All right, we see what somebody, we're gonna wrap it up.